It's the Throwback Files, brother, sister, hidden play, hidden play. All the early 2000 miles laughing as we rewind days. From flip phone rings to Friday nights, we bring those memories back to life. Turn it up, stay a while, you're in the Throwback Files.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Throwback Files, the place where we dive into the iconic moments, memories, and nostalgia of the early to mid 2000s. I'm your host today, social media influencer Hannah Mullen, and today's episode is super exciting because we have a super special guest. If you grew up watching Disney Channel in the 2000s, this special guest helped shape your childhood. We're talking That's So Raven, Hannah Montana, and some of the most iconic memories of our specific eras. Today, I'm sitting down with Michael Poryes, co-creator and executive producer of That's So Raven and Hannah Montana, to know how these shows actually came to life, what was really going on during one of the most nostalgic eras of TV, and to talk all about the behind-the-scenes stories. So, whether you were Team Raven, Team Hannah, or Team Miley, or maybe you were just living for the chaos of Disney Channel, this one's for you. Let's open the file. Alrighty, so Michael, thank you so much for joining me today. It truly
You're
is an
welcome.
honor to have you. So, first, can you kind of give us all a brief summary of who you are and your background and kind of how you got started in the industry?
Well, I got started in the industry when I dropped out of college to be a stand-up comic.
That's cool.
And that's why I originally, at 23, moved from Northern California to Southern California, and was a waiter for about 6, 7 years at a restaurant in Beverly Hills while I was trying to break into stand-up comedy. That evolved into sitcom writing, which I absolutely adore. And that evolved into a career in more of the adult sitcoms, which evolved into, at a point in my career, honestly, you're looking for work. And I heard the Disney Channel was starting to take pitches for their first 4-camera show. And so I had my agent make a meeting over there. All my friends were telling me it was career suicide. If you go
Really
into programming, oh my God, what are you doing? Right?
interesting.
That led to That's So Raven, which ultimately led to Hannah, which was my biggest success and the thing I have the most genuine pride for. And all the people that were telling me not to go into this programming, I hired some of them. So it's an interesting way the business works.
Yeah. So, would you say that if somebody came to you now, say somebody my age, I'm about to turn 23, and said, everybody's telling me I shouldn't do this, whatever that may be, do you think that you would say, do it anyway? Because that's what you did and it ended up leading to a lot of successful opportunities?
Absolutely. I think if somebody follows what's in their gut and their heart, follows their talent, follows what they are passionate about, and really goes into it and gets really, really good at it, um, I completely embrace that. A lot of people look at what I did, boy, it must have been hard work. Or even people in the industry say how hard work it is. And I look at it and say, yeah, it is hard work, but I never really considered it work, because it was my passion.
Mhm.
I loved it. Even if I put in 16-hour days, I couldn't wait to get to the next day because so many things were on my mind that I wanted to accomplish. So to answer your question, yes, if there's something in your gut, you believe in it, that's what you want your life to be, and you're really willing to commit to it and put all in, you go for it. Totally.
I love that. That's really great. Really, really awesome. It's super encouraging, I think, hearing that you started so young because obviously I am the age that you were when you really started getting into things and things started picking up because for people coming out of college or around that age, people really think their life is just kind of stuck and stopped because they're thinking, "Oh, I have to get a job," and then everything just kind of becomes stagnant. So it's encouraging, I think, for myself and other people to hear that that doesn't have to be the case.
I
You
wish
might
I was just at an event at a university, and it was kind of the same question, and I said, listen, you guys, you're graduating, you've worked really hard, give yourselves a break,
Mhm.
take a step back, try some things out. You don't have to be a success and make the big decision right out of the gate. Experiment here, experiment here, experiment here. There's going to be plenty of time in your life where you're going to have tremendous pressure to make a living, but you don't have it now. Find a job, pay your bills, explore what you want. Give yourselves a year or two um, to make a decision. And then when you make that decision, then really, really commit to it. But you don't have to make it now. You're only 22, 23, right?
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. It's super encouraging, really helpful for people like me who are, kind of confused at where things are going to go, but I love that. So thank you for sharing that. So you were talking a little bit about how you got involved with Disney. So how exactly did that happen? And, what is the process like? Do you have to pitch your ideas and they read them and then they'll tell you yes or no? Or what does that kind of look like when you were getting into that?
One of the things I have not shared yet is my first job. My actual first staff job was on the first year of the Disney Channel.
Really?
That was when Ron Miller was the president of Disney. And they did a show called, well, we did a show called Dream Finders. I didn't create it, but I was on staff of it. And there was like 21 shows. It was tried, never really got out of the gate. But that was my very first staff job. And I think I was 27, 28, working at the Disney Channel. Isn't that something?
Wow. That's really fascinating.
And then it went from everything else to your question is how I got into.
Disney Channel. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was again, they wanted something. I went and I pitched Raven because I needed the work.
Mhm.
Initially, it wasn't Raven. It was something called Absolutely Psychic, which was a title I never much cared for, but the Disney Channel liked it. We did that, and Raven was initially cast as Chelsea.
I have heard that. Yes. So did
Yeah.
you come up with the name? Was that name, even though you didn't like it, was that your name or was that Disney's name?
Which name? Chelsea?
Absolutely Psychic.
That was Disney's name. I
That
didn't
was
like it.
Disney's name. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So you pitched that idea to them, and then from there it was kind of like getting things together.
Yeah, it was a matter of I had a friend of mine back then who also was pitching an idea, and I was pitching an idea, and Disney put us together, and together we came up with the idea of a girl that wants to see around the corner, right?
Mhm.
And so we did that. We did the pilot, um, and it was terrific. The pilot really tested well and everything. But the only thing that tested better than the pilot was Raven individually. She jumped off the screen. So Disney said, "We'll pick it up, but you need to revamp it and make Raven the star," which was like, yeah, no brainer time. So we did that, and so we had to go back out and we had to cast a father and a brother and a mother. And we had to recast Chelsea, right? Now, here's the story there. The original that we recast as Chelsea was an actress that we thought was English. And she came in with an English accent and all of those kinds of things. And during the pilot, she just wasn't hitting it, right?
Mm.
And then we found out that she didn't tell us the truth and she really wasn't English.
Oh.
Everything that she was doing, the reason she wasn't hitting it is she wasn't really accessing herself.
Mhm.
I had nothing to write toward. So into the pilot production, I think we're a couple of days into it, we ended up firing her.
Wow.
And the second choice was Annalise, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why Annalise stepped in and became Chelsea, which is like, oh my God. So a lot of times when you're doing these kinds of developments, you kind of follow the flow. It never starts the way you think it's going to start,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so this evolved with Raven as the star, Annalise as Chelsea, and the rest is kind of history. You know, when you
Yeah.
follow the talent and you believe in the talent, um, and you let your writing find them and meet them,
Mm.
you
Mhm.
know, that's one of the secrets, I think, of Raven and of Hannah.
I love that too. Yeah. So how was it working with Raven and Annalise? Did they get along well? Was there kind of conflict with that? Or because they were pretty young, weren't they?
Yeah, they got along great. I can't remember a time when there was conflict between the two of them.
That's awesome.
I think they both genuinely enjoyed each other,
That's
right?
yeah.
Raven had immense comic timing,
I have heard that.
just staggeringly good. And Annalise was just this energy that came. One of her really wonderful talents is that she has a voice fantastic.
Really?
Broadway, Broadway time, right? And she could belt out something. So she was the kind of character we needed to
Mm.
stand up to Raven because she was big in her own way,
Mhm.
commanded the camera and the scene in her own way. And Raven, of course, is Raven. And so there was a wonderful balance there of friendship. She met Raven at her energy.
Yeah.
And the chemistry was terrific.
Dynamic duo, of course.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I always love hearing that actors get along well on and off screen because I think that you can really almost tell and feel that through the screen because if it feels more real, you're going to believe it's real. And I mean, their relationship as best friends even evolved through Raven's Home, which did you have anything to do with Raven's Home?
Not much, no.
No.
I didn't. I have co-created credit because Raven's Home is really just an extension of That's So Raven.
Sure. Yeah.
And Raven's Home is also just testimony to the chemistry the two of them had. That this just doesn't happen often when you find that. As
Mhm.
comes Raven Home with, I don't know, 6 or 7 seasons.
Yeah, I think it's still going or it's
I don't think so.
is it going still or it's just finished or
I think it finished a couple of years ago.
okay. I remember watching the first few seasons and they were still their chemistry was still so perfect as best friends. It was like they had never ever left each other. So I thought that was really, really cool. And
Because
I'm
I think
sure
they genuinely like each other.
that's gotta be the key. And I like I said, I feel like you can tell and you can feel that, which is so awesome. And I need to ask, how was it working with Raven? I've heard she's amazing. Is she as amazing as everybody says?
Yeah. You
Good.
know, she is not difficult. She never pulls star stuff. You know, I'm the star, I'm the
Mhm.
power, so that. Very collaborative. Um, and one of the more important things when she walks on stage, she sets a good tone. It's very important for the star of the show, even if they're in a bad mood or they're annoyed by something or they can't concentrate. When they come onto the stage, they set the tone for the crew, for the other actors. They set the pace, all of those things. And so she never brought her personal stuff onto the set. It was only positive, always ready. I won't Can I share an audition story?
Of course you can. Yes.
When she came into audition, she came in and not the Raven you think she is. She came in very serious,
Really?
and she came in and just stood there, and I said, "Okay, are you ready?" Yes. No, it's just like just already very focused. And she said, "Well, which scene would you like me to do?" Now, she didn't have any pages in front of me. She wasn't holding anything, and we had like 5 scenes, right? So I said, "Okay, how about scene 3?" And she would do this. and she'd go, okay.
She had it memorized, didn't she?
Oh.
Really?
And we would do scene 3, nailed it. And you're
Wow.
like, all right, what scene now? How about scene 5? Right? And it was like, okay,
That's crazy.
nail scene 5.
Now, is that encouraged in auditions? Like, is that the type of thing you want to see? Because I've heard mixed opinions on that. That's a good thing?
I, as a producer, creator, writer, am always massively impressed when an actor has spent the time to memorize the lines to come into the audition.
Of course.
That really tells me that they're in it, they're taking it seriously. But also, I also tell actors, listen, if you're holding pages, your hands are not free.
Mm,
And so you can't be expressive. You can't walk around. You can't do this or that because you're always fumbling with the pages. And so they're not terribly helpful
mhm.
in an audition because it's not letting you fully encompass the role and everything you want to do with it. Lots come in with pages, but I will tell you, Miley didn't have pages. Annalise didn't have pages. Raven didn't have pages. Mitchell didn't have pages. Emily didn't have pages. And Billy Ray didn't have pages.
Wow. Really?
So they all got it because they committed. And we were able to see how they really would be in the role. So much of what you do in acting is physical. It's body language. It's so much of that. And if you're spending time looking at pages, you're not looking at me, who's auditioning you, giving me reactions and all those wonderful things that you need to do in reality when you're doing the part.
That makes sense. I've always heard differing things. I've always heard, in like acting classes in school, it's better to not have them in your hand, but that it's okay to reference it. But I was just curious what your take was on that. And that's really interesting to hear that all of those people had it memorized. I mean, that does show preparedness. So it makes a lot more sense. But I didn't know if it ever came across as conceited at all if when people do that, or if that's a totally good thing.
You're in front of the writer, and this is the writer's baby, and now you know all the lines you've memorized. I already like you.
You're like, you're making it come to life, so it's a good thing. Okay,
Already on your side.
that's great. Okay,
There's
yeah, that's awesome.
nothing bad about
Okay,
having the
that's
line.
great. That's great. I'm like taking mental notes because my brother is super involved in acting and Broadway and theater. And so I'm like, okay, what do I need to tell him? What do I need to tell him? What do I need to tell him? Because he's constantly doing auditions and things like that. And I think that's good for him to know. So thank you
Absolutely.
for that one. I will apply that for sure.
Okay.
So last thing about Raven is there a behind the scenes moment that you think fans would kind of be shocked or surprised to hear, or even like a fun fact or something like that that comes to mind?
Well, before that, the one thing about Raven, which was rare, is she would always take a funny moment and make it better.
Mm,
She would always surprise me. One time I had her dressed up as I think, a grandmother.
yes.
And she came in and was just coming in, doing the lines in the way Raven would do them, right? But then she does this circle thing that she danced around on one foot. I didn't see that coming, right? She just did that. And you kind of go like, oh boy, oh boy. You know, there was one time that I remember, and it was an interesting time because my parental instinct kicked in. She was doing something and she fell off the bed, right? Literally landed on the floor with
Oh,
us,
wow.
right? I was out of my chair heading up to see if she was okay. And her father stopped me, right? And he said, just let her deal with it, right? And she got up and did the scene again. So he knew, no, don't go up. It'll basically embarrass her.
Oh.
Let her deal with this herself. Let her get back on her feet. Keep her focus. And so I did, and he was, he's her dad. He was right. you know. But I do remember that a lot of actors, if something like that happened,
Yeah,
would have been thrown for 20 minutes, a half hour. Um,
absolutely.
it took her 30 seconds to shake it off and get back into the scene. So that was pretty impressive. And she was, I think, 15.
That's incredible. That's amazing. I mean, I'm sure there's adults that wouldn't have even done that or still probably don't do that. That's crazy.
Exactly. It was quite something.
It's awesome. That's really, really awesome. So that's super cool to hear. So let's kind of transition into Hannah Montana, which I know is really like your baby. I have my Hannah Montana drink sleeve right here.
Well, thank you very much. It's really,
I knew you'd appreciate that.
yes.
Um, so kind of tell us a little bit about Hannah Montana and how did it even really start as an idea?
Okay. It's the non glorious part is that I had a script commitment at Disney. Initially, they wanted me to do a spinoff of That's So Raven with Corey.
Oh.
And so I was thinking of this idea, that idea, was getting really into it. But then the people that were running Raven at the time wanted to do it. And so Disney comes to me and said, you can't do it anymore. We're going to give it over to there. And, I was going, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they say, but we want to do something about a pop star. So because of that, and because they wanted to do Corey in the House, I think it was called,
Mm-hmm.
pop star led to Hannah Montana. Initially, they wanted to do a show that focused more on wouldn't it be great to be a pop star? You're going to concerts and it's the star thing and all this stuff. And my style is always about the truth and relationships and what it's like to be, a kid and
Mhm.
and all the relatable things that I can draw from my own life growing up. Well, I wasn't a pop star, right? So that evolved into The Secret, and that evolved into trying to balance the best of both worlds, essentially. That I want to be a real girl, but I also want to be really successful and a pop star. So I also developed a backstory that when she was the character, wasn't Miley yet, when the character was like 7, 8, and started to sing and started to catch fire, but not anything big, more local, it affected her relationship with her best friend because the best friend started to treat her kind of like a celebrity, right? Um, and when they were going to move into Malibu, um, she invented the character Miley Stewart invented Hannah Montana. So she could then go to school, have a normal life, make friends that like her for herself, and become a star. But that's all because of the backstory of her being hurt.
Mm. So where did the name Hannah Montana come from?
Hannah Montana came from before I wrote anything down. Right, I'm sitting there like I am now in front of my computer. Right,
Yeah.
and I have to think of a name. You know, and so my niece was named Hannah. And I knew other kids that were named Hannah. I like the name Hannah,
Oh,
right?
well, thank you. That's my name.
I like the name Hannah. And so I started Hannah Banana, Hannah, That's So Hannah, Here Comes Hannah, Hannah Schmana, and I went to Hannah Montana and I went, okay, all right, okay, Hannah Montana. And I wrote it down. And I said to myself, I have to start writing, right? I hadn't even written the presentation yet, right?
Yep.
So I wrote Hannah Montana down thinking, well, there's no way Disney is going to keep it. They like to change titles all the time.
Sure.
So why obsess? And it just stayed.
It's catchy.
That's could I say?
It's catchy. It's a good title.
It was meant to be, I guess.
It really, really, really was. It's such a catchy title, but it's unique. I mean, I don't think anybody has ever heard of anything like that. And it's not like it's cheesy or anything. It's fun. It's really good. It's cool, especially for a pop star, girly girl. It's great. It really, really is. And I have always appreciated that
Oh,
it's
it was all
Hannah.
because of you. All
It was
you.
all because of me.
Yeah.
And, my real brother's name is Jackson, so you're welcome for that inspiration as well. And I do have a parent that's a singer, you know.
Jesus, maybe it was inspired by your family from some strange way.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. But it is a small world. It is a really small world.
But it's
So
amazing. But that's how that happened. You
that's
know,
cool.
and O'Malley, the character, was originally a Jewish girl from New York. This was
Hmm.
originally the character. That's what was in my head.
And was it Miley or was it a different name?
A whole different name because Miley wasn't even a thought at that point.
Ah,
Miley was basically casting.
okay.
A casting that, in the process, we turned her down
Really?
twice, three times. She handed in video clips, once when she was 10, another time when she was 11, and another time when she was almost 12, 11 and a half or something like that.
Is that when she wore that shirt that said something like, "I should have my own TV series," or something like that? I saw
No, I think that
that.
one came in for the audition.
Oh, that was the actual audition?
Yeah, I think. And we turned her down, and there was something about her we all liked,
Mhm.
but we were really hesitant to make a show about, to put an entire show in the hands of a 10-year-old.
Mm.
Can't she do it? Can she do the hours? But she just kept getting better and better and better. And then Disney said, okay, bring her out as long as they came out on their own money.
Oh, really?
They're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
bring her out. And she just wowed us in the audition. She was so not quite the character, who was supposedly shy when she wasn't on stage. The character, Miley, is anything but shy. And so she came in and sort of commanded the room. There was something about her that was genuine and authentic, didn't have pages. We loved her, and all of a sudden, Billy wanted to audition. We were going, oh, yeah, well, I mean, Dad's going to audition. We're going to go, thank you, Dad. That was really good. We don't want you, but we want your kid. He came in and blew us away.
Wow.
And then Miley read stuff with him, and you couldn't beat this chemistry. It was really quite outstanding.
I'm sure because it was real. It was real father-daughter.
That is absolutely true. And you can't beat that kind of chemistry. An example of we had lightning in a bottle is
Mhm.
in one of the first episodes, first few, Billy accidentally, when he should have said, hi, I'm Robbie Ray Stewart, said, I'm Billy Ray Cyrus.
Really?
Right. And so there's a lot of stuff that says that we meant that to happen. We wrote that. It's not quite true. That was an accident.
That's
And
funny.
it was an accident that I didn't catch on set. None of the crew caught it on set. Nobody caught it. Right.
Really? So when was it caught?
In editing.
Wow.
Right. And it was like, oh my God, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. And for me, I look back on it as saying, what a happy accident. What proof do we have that he said that and no one noticed is because everything was jumping off the screen so genuine. Everything on the stage was so genuine. It was a really wonderful, happy accident.
That's crazy. No, very much happy accident and really positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely right.
So can you kind of tell me a little bit about your relationship with Miley and how it was working with her?
I had a really good relationship with Miley because at the end of the day, when you're doing kids programming, I'm always a parent first. It's just how I have to operate. So I'm pretty protective. And one of the things about this kind of programming is to establish a safe place and a trust between you and your star, that you have their back and they have your back. Because she's in front of the camera. She has a lot on her at 12 and 13.
Mhm.
But she's still a kid. So one of the things that, and it's kind of the secret Miley and I had, is I promised her that early on in the first season, that if she ever needed to take a break, if there was ever something going on, she didn't have to tell me what it was, where she had to walk away for 10,
Mhm.
15 minutes and just get her thoughts together, no matter what, all she'd have to do was give me kind of a look of, or come over to me and just,
Nudge you. Yeah.
anything. And I said, I'll stop everything at any time. And I'll give you the 10, 15 minutes to collect your thoughts. And she only used it once,
Really?
only one time. And we were on a clock. We had kid hours. So you only have a certain number of hours in the day.
Mhm.
And she gave me a look and I stopped everything. Right. And she went to her dressing room for 10, 15 minutes. Oh my God. I really caught hell for that one. Because everybody was saying on a clock, what are you doing? And I couldn't say it because between Miley and I, and it says she needs time. And I
Mhm.
promised her. And so that's that. 10, 15 minutes later, she came back and nailed the scene and moved on. But she always knew that if she needed it, I would back her up, right?
Absolutely.
It gave her a sense of security and a
Mhm.
little bit of that sense of, I have the power to stop things if I need to do it.
Mhm.
Again, she only used that once, right? Um, we always had each other's back. I've told this story before, but initially, the ending of the series
Mhm.
was supposed to be, well, I wanted to end the series one way, and Disney wanted to end the series another way.
Mhm.
They wanted to end the series that Miley Cyrus woke up and that Hannah Montana was a complete dream. And she was back at 8 years old. And they wanted to shoot the scene. I didn't want to shoot the scene because I didn't want them to use it.
Yeah.
But we did shoot the scene. And we used Billy and Miley's real mom, and somebody playing Miley at 8. And it was a lovely scene. It was really, really
Mhm.
nice. I wanted her to go to college, right? And have a choice whether I follow stardom or I go to college and put stardom off for a little bit.
Yep.
I felt a responsibility to do it that way.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Disney gave Miley the choice,
Mm.
right? You want to
Mhm.
go with this? It was all your dream, Miley Cyrus's dream, or do you want to go over here? And she basically said, I support what Michael wants.
Wow.
So she had my back, right? So it was a really good, trusting relationship. She never pulled any star stuff, just like Raven, right?
Mhm.
Always a class act, and learned that when she walked on set, that she set the tone. It was the same kind of thing. If I walked on set and I'm grumpy, everybody's going to be going like, "What's the matter with him? What's going on? Something wrong?" And
Mhm.
Miley steps on set and she's off for time or she doesn't know her lines. That ripples to everybody else,
Yeah.
affects the production.
Mhm.
It, so, you ask a 12, 13, 14-year-old to step into those shoes. It takes a very special 12, 13, 14-year-old to actually do that,
Yeah.
set such a positive tone. So she deserves a lot. She gets a lot of credit for Hannah, but she deserves behind the scenes credit also for keeping the vibe up, which is
Yeah.
not an easy thing to do.
So when she took that break, was that earlier on into the early seasons?
That was I think that was like somewhere halfway, maybe three-quarters of the way into the first season.
Oh, okay. That's really fascinating, really interesting. I love that she was so supportive to you behind the scenes, but also, she did great work on screen as well. So, I mean, imagining her character, Miley Stewart, where do you think she would be now, 20 years later?
I, that's a that's a good question. I've never. That's a great question.
Have you ever been asked that question before?
No,
Really?
wow. Now I have to think. Where would Miley Stewart Hannah be now?
Do you think she'd be
I
performing?
think she would have I personally think she would have had a wonderful career as Miley Stewart singing.
Do you think she would have gone through college and then after she would have picked back up with singing, but as Miley and not as Hannah?
Oh, definitely as Miley.
Really?
We came out of the whole thing and she told the world who she was.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I think she would have gone to college, probably would have sang a little bit in college, and probably would have had a really, really great recording career that would have gone into acting and all that, because I don't think that she would have lost the bug. I
Mhm.
think she is organically, in her very being, a singer, right? And so I think she would have went on very similar to how Miley Cyrus went on and embraced her career and her individuality. Um, Miley Cyrus is smart, and she's a really good business person. And all career moves she makes are hers. I think Miley Stewart would have followed a very similar path.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. That's so encouraging. That heals my inner child, knowing that she probably would have going. I mean, I would have hoped too, like thinking on it as a fan, I would have hoped that she would have kept going. But hearing that from you, I think is really special too, because I mean, I think there was a lot of, speculation when the actual clip came out and was released where she was kind of playing with the dolls and everybody found out that people were thinking about making that the actual ending. There was a lot of talk as to like why was it cut and was she actually never going to be a singer at all? Would she even have been a singer after college? But I think hearing it from you, in my opinion, that solidifies it. She 100% would have kept going.
Oh, I think so, because I think she was born with the talent.
Mhm.
Right? The evolution of her
Yeah.
was the split personality, and I am not secure enough to let everybody know the whole me.
Mhm.
Secure enough, but the arc of the series left her now more secure, and now I'm going to go to college where everybody's going to know that
Mhm.
Michael Stewart is also Hannah Montana, and I'm going to go through all of that. And I believe the character would have risen to that challenge and come out with a music career and a singing career, and would have been even more so the business behind it. I think I think Miley Stewart would have taken business classes.
Ooh. You think she would
Right.
have been like a business major?
I think she would have taken business classes. I don't know if she would have been a business major, but I think she would have used college to set herself up to take more control of her career.
That's awesome. I agree. I had never thought about that. Like, what would her major have been? Because they never touched on that in the show. What was she going to college for? Did they?
No, and in actuality, I don't think the character would know what her major was.
So
I
going in
think she would have,
undecided.
I think she would have been searching around for the first year or two to figure out exactly what it is that she wanted to do.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think, yeah, this really leads me into another big question with the talk of the 20th anniversary and all of that. Do you ever see there being potential for some kind of sequel series or reboot like Wizards of Waverly Place and Raven's Home and all of those other ones? Because obviously Miley's very busy, so maybe it doesn't include her or maybe it does. But do you ever think that there would be potential or have you pitched an idea like that in the past?
Well, that's a good question. I've actually thought there should be a prequel. And
Really?
I've pitched to Disney an animation idea about a prequel back when Miley Cyrus was 7 or 8 back in Tennessee. And she was starting to sing, and she was really getting involved and in fun ways with Robbie Ray's career. Right.
Oh.
And we could see the evolution of how she had a friend at that point and how that friendship slowly but surely got kind of hobbled as she got more famous. And I was even going to make her horse, Blue Jeans, a magical horse.
Oh, that's cute.
And so I thought, okay, cool. You know, this would be a really great prequel. We could have Dolly part and do her voice. We can have Meemaw back. We can have, Jason do a voice of a little Jackson, maybe. All of those kinds of things were a fun thing. I've pitched it a few times over the last few years, and it's just something that Disney has never bit on. I wish they would. It would be a lot of fun. If you're listening, Disney, yeah, I would love
Yes,
to.
please, Disney, or even Disney Junior, maybe.
That's exactly right, because I don't think it's for the same. I think it's for a younger audience.
But I think that people my age, older, and even a little younger, I think that they would want to watch too, because it's reliving those childhood things. But if you notice, a lot of companies are bringing back those nostalgic brands and lines. I mean, so it could happen. It really could. Disney, if you're listening, you know,
Sure, it'd be kind of cool because it's not doing a reboot where all the actors come back
exactly.
and you're trying to recreate the same magic. You
Exactly.
know, here it's creating something completely different,
You're
and
creating new magic.
you're creating new magic. And you're finding out the history behind it all.
Did you have a
So
name for it?
actually, tentative names that I had for it was Little Miley.
That's cute. That's really cute. I still think it could happen. I really, really do. And, we're going to tag all the people
Everybody, right to Disney.
that on that. We're going to start a petition because I think it would do really well. And I think that there's a lot of potential there.
It'll be a lot of fun.
It really would be. It really, really would be.
As a
So,
creator, all you can do is present your idea and hope the other people see it and buy it, and let's have some fun again.
absolutely. That's awesome. So, now I'm gonna get into a couple just quick little fan questions. I kind of polled my followers and my viewers of my content with all of my nostalgia content and kind of secretly asked without kind of sharing what we were doing, what are some questions that you would ask somebody that created these big things? And one of the most asked questions was, how in the world were you able to convince all of these big time celebrities to go on Hannah Montana?
Well, I didn't have to convince them.
Really?
Hannah Montana was really, really popular. They went on Hannah Montana because their kids loved the show.
Ah,
That's why we got everybody, with the exception of Dolly, who was Miley's godmother.
hmm,
And I always like to say about Dolly, who was my very favorite, everything that you think Dolly is, everything that you see, that she's just so delightful and wouldn't harm, and all those things, everything that she puts off is completely true.
oh,
It's exactly who she is. She came in and we're kind of going, anything we can do for you? A dressing room, you want anything special in there? And she basically said, darling, all I need is a toilet and a closet.
oh,
That's it. She was delightful, unpretentious, uh, everything you think she is, she's that and more.
that's
Right.
awesome.
It was really quite something when these people came on. Sylvester Stallone came. He wasn't on the show, but he came because his daughter,
Yeah.
and he came up to me, and I loved it. It's one of my favorite things. And he came up to me and he says, all the things I done, finally I've done something to impress my daughter. Right. So here's a guy, Rocky, Rambo, all these things, but to his daughter, he was just like dad. Right. And he was beaming because, oh, finally my daughter sees son cool.
That's cool. That's special. That's really special.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. So then another really popular one kind of going off of that is, that era, my era of Disney was so special. Do you think that kids today will ever have a Disney era that was so special? Because in my opinion, that era was so special because you were creating episodes based on lessons and valuable lessons, and you weren't trying to push agendas and things like that. Do you think that, you know, Disney could ever kind of grow to be the successful empire it used to be? I mean, it obviously still is one, but Disney Channel itself is very different now because it's just evolved, right? That just happens with time. But do you think that a similar era could ever come back where it does focus more on lessons and things like that?
Well, in general, my style of writing is never to write to what's current or hip or trying to chase after the audience because here's where they are. Boy, if they're
Mhm.
online, I'm going to write that they're online or something like that. I always wrote universal truths and emotions.
Mhm.
One of the reasons I think that Hannah has stood the test of time, and also Raven. You don't chase after what kids are doing. You stay with the emotions that I had when I was a kid. You had when you were a kid. Kids have today and will always have.
Mhm.
I think if Disney got back to that kind of programming, where they really concentrated on relating, where they started with not the funny or the clever or the package, but they started with the emotion and the aspirational qualities of things, and really writing up to kids, not down or across or backwards or whatever, just really respecting kids. I do think the audience is there, and I do think the audience will come. The proof of that is that I think Hannah and the Old Wizards and Sweet Life and
Mhm.
all those programs are streamed so much by kids.
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many times somebody comes up to me and said, "My 10-year-old and just got done binging the whole Hannah thing."
Yep.
I think if you wrote it and they did it the way we did it then, that kids would return to it. I really give them more credit than to think that they don't have the attention span. They're used to scrolling, so you can't keep their attention. YouTube's
Mhm.
taking over everything. I think nothing replaces good quality character, emotion, great storytelling, all those. I think if you put that back out there, that kids will find it and they will come.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So again, Disney or anybody else listening, that's something to keep in mind because I think that's some really, really good advice, you know? You never know who's listening. So one more kind of fan question is, with the rise of influencers and creators and things like that and people wanting to, get out there more, be online, be in media, whether that's acting or just making funny videos like I do online, what kind of
Sure.
advice would you recommend to people if they want to kind of take it up to the next level, whether it be with TV or movies or something like that, kind of with where the world is heading? What would you suggest? What kind of pieces of advice would you offer?
In the world of AI, also.
Yes, and I was going to ask you about that too. How does AI kind of play into that with the voiceovers and things like that and AI replacing it all?
My first advice to anybody is never lose sight of who you are. Never lose sight of why you're special.
Mm,
Never lose sight of all that is inside of you, which is your history. What happened to you in fourth grade, sixth grade, ninth grade, you know, all that stuff AI doesn't know.
yeah.
And when you do anything, whether it's all the stuff you talked about or writing or anything that's in the media, the most important thing you have is your own authenticity. Um, if you are authentic and you're not lying to the audience and you're relating to the audience, they feel that they truly know you. You're 90% there because that makes you unique. If you start chasing after everything that everybody else is doing and you're not coming across with that uniqueness, in my opinion, you will fail, especially in the days of AI. I would always counsel, don't let AI control you. You control AI. You come with your stuff. You come with your creativeness. And if AI can help you production wise,
Use it as
that's
a tool.
great. Use it as a tool. It's a
Mhm.
wonderful tool, but don't use it as the thing that drives you. Don't use it as the thing that, well, I can do this and I can do that with AI and that with AI, because it's really, really good and it's really impressive what it can do. But what it can't do is that little secret it factor, that emotion, that passion. It doesn't have that.
Mhm.
And when you can apply that, that's everything. So, never lose sight of the fundamentals of who you are and how you can apply that to your work.
That's great. That is quote worthy right there. Somebody needs to write that down, put it in, a quote book or something, because that was really, really good.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Did they get an A?
Yes, you get an A plus. That was great. It was great. Good job. Gold star. So then just to kind of wrap it up, can you kind of tell us what you've been working on now and what you do now? Um, do you talk to anybody still from previous years on Hannah Montana or Raven or things like that? And just what are you doing now and where do you kind of see yourself heading?
I'm doing a lot of workshops and mentoring at colleges,
That's fun.
which I'm very much enjoying. To say, here's the best way to approach creativity. Here's the best way to approach the business. Here are the things to watch out for. Here are the things to do. Try to say, I made all these mistakes lots and lots and lots of times. But the most of what I'm trying to do in when I go to colleges is instill tenacity and optimism. Want to get into the entertainment industry, believe in yourself and what you're doing. Don't try to please a bunch of other people and do what they do. Find your own voice, find your own way in. And that will, especially in today, will make you stand out. And so I'm doing that. And then I also, when you say keep in touch with the people, I'm almost done with a kid's picture book. I did it for the heck of it.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
Then I sent it to Miley and to Raven, hoping that maybe they'd read it and give me a quote, right? That I could put on. And so both of them did.
Really?
So that was very heartening.
Oh, I love that.
Here I am with my little picture book that I'm doing. Who knows what it's going to do, but it's been fun for me. And they were within like days willing they got back to me. They gave me the quotes and whatever.
Wow.
That kind of shows you who they are.
So when will that kind of be releasing? And will you be posting about that or kind of
I'll
what does
definitely be posting about it, but the target is probably for the holidays,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, that's
My
exciting.
my is what I think. You never know.
Definitely need to check that out for sure.
But you'll be knowing beforehand. I'll
Perfect.
yes.
Yes, please tell me because I would love to read it and check it out. And that's so cool about Miley and Raven. I mean, they genuinely seem like such good people on and off stage, screen, etc.
Hard to find that in, the entertainment industry, the interesting industry.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to find that, they can remember,
Yeah.
and that they have loyalty
Yeah.
and all of those kinds of things. The one thing I said to both of them when, and Raven knew this, Miley didn't quite know this, is keep the friends you have, keep your
Mhm.
child friends, keep all of them very close because they
Mhm.
knew you before you were famous.
Yeah.
And now that you get fame, that's always in the air. And so friends you make have
Mhm.
always a little attracted to that.
Oh, yeah.
Your old buddies, they're your best friends for life.
So I have one more question for you, and I think I already know part of the answer. Have you been seeing anything about Disney Channel Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, I have. Why?
You have? So I just looked up Mount Rushmore to just make sure I get the number of people right,
I
and there's 4 people, Rushmore. So
Who are the four?
I just turned the picture off. I know George Washington is one of them, Lincoln is another, and then I don't know.
That's on the real Mount Rushmore.
Oh,
What's
yeah,
the
that's on the real. Well, the Disney Mount Rushmore is up for personal debate. So I have come up with my own Disney Mount Rushmore, and lots of other people have too. Brenda Song has released hers. Her husband has released his. So if you had a Disney Channel Mount Rushmore, would you be able to create one?
I would, but I've not really thought about it. I mean, when you say a Disney Mount Rushmore, are you saying everything Disney has done?
I think more Disney Channel. So
Yeah.
say Miley Raven and then two other people. The people that you feel like really left a big impact on the legacy of Disney Channel itself. And that could be going back to the very beginning. That could be recently. Obviously, different age groups are going to have their own, but I think it's really interesting to kind of see what different people think and really value. Miley Cyrus and Raven are
I
very
would say
common.
absolutely.
Yes, very commonly on there. Who would your other 2 be?
That's a good question. Wow, I look at it and I go like, can the Sprouse twins be one?
That's what Brenda Song said. I say yes. Yes.
No. So now you have that's Sprouse twins there. It's an interesting thing because like High School Musical doesn't have one. They have a group.
That's why it's so hard, is there's so many legends.
Listen, it might come down to Selena Gomez because that's the show that won the Emmy,
That's true.
right? They won an Emmy for the series. They won an Emmy for the movie, or I think it was an Emmy.
That sounds right.
So they certainly helped. I mean, High School Musical should be represented because that put them on the map.
Mhm.
Raven put them on the map. Hannah put them on the map. But then when you look at it as all of a piece, the Sprouse twins, and Selena for Wizards, everything else just kind of came after that.
That's true. Mhm.
What do you think? What are your other two other than
So I said for mine, I'm gonna have 2. I go back and forth. So definitely Miley, Selena. I put Demi up there too, because I think that her work in Camp Rock was really good. Um And then I think I put Hillary. I go between Hillary and Raven because Hillary Duff, I feel like really kind of
you know what?
kicks things off too.
Now you're doing Hillary, Raven, Miley because Hillary was Lizzie McGuire was pivotal.
And she was before
She
all
was
of the other
before,
ones. Mhm.
and if you really go back, you'd go to Shia LaBeouf,
Mhm.
Stephen Stevens, because
That's
those,
another popular one that people are saying too. They're like, you cannot have one without him on.
my only hesitance about Shia LaBeouf is that, personally, I wish he was better. I mean, he's led a very, very hard, crazy kind of life. So does he really represent the Disney brand? I'm not sure.
It's valid. That is valid. That is valid. I was just curious because I feel like other people too, and that's a big talking point right now. So I'm curious to see what other people kind of say
Well,
that.
I know Raven, and I know,
Of course,
and I
we
know
already
my
knew your other 2.
failure.
Yes, we already knew those 2, but I was curious about those last 2. So thank you for sharing that. And Michael, just thank you again so much for taking the time to
Very
speak
well.
with me. This has been so much fun, and it's been so exciting just to kind of get to know a little bit of your story and talk to you. So how can people kind of follow along with you? Where can people, you know, see what you're up to?
Well, go to my Instagram, which is just my name. And like, you can ask to be my friend on Facebook if you want, but that's just my name too. But more, follow me on Instagram.
Okay. That's the greatest place to reach him. Okay, perfect. So you heard that. Follow him on Instagram It's just his name. And then you can follow along with me at Hannah A. Mullen on Instagram and TikTok as well. And be sure to kind of follow along for more and let us know, what did you think of this interview? What did you take away from it? What was interesting? Who would be on your Disney Channel Mount Rushmore? I would love to hear. I'm sure Michael would love to hear also. And let us know if you have any other questions for Michael. I'm sure he would be happy to answer them.
Absolutely.
And yes, be sure to follow both of us. And thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you all next time.